That's a really interesting point, because the delivery advice is kind of the guts of the next big question. CoreData modelling, and anyone's capable of doing this, shows there's about 6 million Australians who need financial advice. We don't have the advice network to provide that.
Yeah.
How are we going to solve that? Is that going to be digital? Is it going to be increasing scale for advice businesses? Is it going to be through compulsion? What do you think is going to solve that in the next 5 years?
Well, I think we've been really consistent with the government on this over the last few years in different submissions that we've done ourselves, and also with different lobbying groups that we're involved with. I think people are conflating two issues, Andrew. There's access to and the affordability of good quality professional advice, like thorough advice. And the biggest driver to value in the profession at the moment is also the biggest risk and the biggest downside for consumers, and that's the shortage of advisors. So when I say it's the biggest driver of value, that supply-demand imbalance is driving prices and profitability for the profession.
There seems to be no solution to that. I can't see that being solved quickly.
There's a simple way to solve it. The government knows what the solution is, Andrew, and they just need to pass the legislation to fix the debacle that was FASEA. Everybody knows it. It's not difficult to see it. What was supposed to be a relevant degree with a small r and a small d got hijacked by some crazy board that decided to create a very esoteric degree and capitalise the term. And what we've ended up with is, last year there was 120,000 business graduates in Australia, give or take, from business schools. 480 of them did a capital R, capital D relevant degree. Now that is absolutely absurd, and no amount of fantasising about creating an attractive profession, etc., is going to get 17 and 18-year-old kids to commit to such an esoteric degree when they're choosing university. So we know what the solution is. Get back to what FASEA was supposed to be, which is a small r and a small d relevant degree. Treasury's done the work. They've set the boundaries out for what it should look like. Minister Jones, back in February of this year, stood up at a conference in Canberra and committed to making the change. Luke Howarth, when he was the opposition minister, supported that very same day, said the opposition would support it. Daniel Molino has said it's top of the pops and an important thing to do. Let's just do it.
What do you think's holding them up?
I've got no idea. You know, you'd need to ask Daniel Molino, but the profession needs to hold this government and the opposition to account, because if you want to make professional advice more accessible, more affordable, you need to fix that supply-demand imbalance. The way to fix that is to let the profession get back to recruiting sensibly. And look, there were 30-something thousand commerce graduates last year. Imagine being able to choose from those to recruit, bring them in, get them straight into their PY, give them some vocational training and get them in front of people. But it's not just the graduates coming out of school, it's all of the potential career changes. What an enormous opportunity. The demand is definitely there. That will drive prices down, as will the implementation of technologies, you know, all of these efficiencies that we're seeing coming into practices now. But those things working together will seriously address the affordability and access to proper professional advice.
Couldn't agree more. And it's a worry to me when you look at the age curve of advisors, because we are a decade away from this becoming a real problem. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a very steep on-ramp when it happens. And unless we solve it now, we're in real trouble.
Yeah, look, I keep talking to people, Andrew, saying the supply-demand imbalance is working in all of our favours at the moment. It's attracting a lot of capital into the Australian marketplace. The private equity's coming in. It's enabling practices to improve their margins, improve their profitability. But by the same token, whilst that opportunity is fantastic now, it's also the biggest risk to capital. Because in 10 years' time, if this matter is not resolved, we'll fall off a cliff in advisor numbers, and then the assets will be worth nothing because there'll be no one to sit in front of the clients and no one to buy the assets.